Lena Stevens huddled on the cold ground and clung to her 18-month-old son, trying to silence his screams of terror as flames licked up the roof of her house and poured down the walls like a boiling pot. Back and forth she rocked, pressing Charlie to her chest, whispering, "Hush, hush, stop now." Dark shadows leaped and danced around her like someone in agony, her nostrils filled with the smell of burning wood and wool, vegetables and sugar. It was the odor of despair. She and Charlie had nothing left. No home, no place to get away from the bitter wind filling her veins with ice. No food, nothing but the clothes they wore and the thin blanket about them like a shawl. A horse reared to a stop at her side. The rider hit the ground running and skidded to the trough to pump water like mad. She glanced up and saw Anker Hansen, her neighbor, the man who had been at her husband's side last winter as he lay drawing his last tortured breaths. The man who had promised Johnson he would take care of her and little Charlie. He took his vow seriously, often coming by to make sure she was all right and to offer help. But she didn't want taking care of and had frequently been rude to the persistent man. A wagon pulled up a few feet from her. It was Mr. Hampton from the south. 4 gangly youths armed with shovels, buckets, and gunny sacks tumbled over the side. They quickly filled the buckets and attacked the fire. Water hit the flames and sizzled. One of the boys dampened his sack and beat out flames springing up where sparks hit dry grass. A second wagon pulled to a stop beside the first and 2 men jumped down. In the glare of the firelight and the sharp shadows, Lena wasn't certain, but thought them to be the 2 families from down by the river. The men joined the battle. After a hard fight, the fire died down to glowing embers. Lena shuddered at the sight of the charred corner posts. Her house had been reduced to rubble. "I'm sorry, missus." She nodded to Mr. Hampton, unable to speak around the throb in her throat. "It's too bad," one of the other men said. "But now you'll have to go home for sure. This is no place for a young woman with a baby." By home, she knew they meant back east, but she had no one back there to go to. Her only friend, Skye, shared a tiny room with her husband at the back of their store and had recently had a baby. They had no space for 2 more people. Besides, Lena wasn't about to ask for charity. She would make it on her own. Oh, nobody. Lena shuddered. She'd heard people speak of being burned out, but until now, it was only an expression, not something reaching down into her body and pulling hope out by its heels. One of the youths slapped his sack against his boot. His eyes met hers, and she saw a mixture of shock and fascination before she turned away. 4 more wagons pulled into the yard, drawing into a semicircle facing the smoldering house. While the men climbed down from the wagons to gather and compare notes, the women who had come with them remained in their seats, staring straight ahead. Lena didn't need to study their stiff posture and averted eyes to understand the unspoken message. They would make sure the neighborly thing was done in controlling the fire, while pretending she didn't exist. She hugged Charlie close, silently daring any of them to make a comment about him. "I don't need them." But her insides were frozen. "What will I do?" One man inched toward her. "You will need a place to stay." "Albert!" the nearest woman croaked, and the man turned away without offering anything. Shock, cold, and fear raced through Lena, and she shook violently. The biggest of the Hampton boys grabbed a blanket from the wagon seat and ambled toward her. Awkwardly, he draped it across her shoulders. It did little to ease the cold encasing her, but she murmured her thanks and pulled it close. "Lady," his voice cracked, "we don't have an inch to spare at our house, or we'd take you with us." She nodded, painfully aware no one was about to offer help. Despair filled her mind, as black and empty as the darkness beyond the fire. "She will come with me. I have the room. I take care of her and Charlie just like I promised her good man before he die." The women gasped at Anker's suggestion. Mr. Hampton stepped forward. "We don't do things that way in this country. She can't live with you unless you 2 are married." "I will marry her." "No." Lena tried to gain her feet.